Hello and welcome to La La Land on LA Talk Live. I'm Brett Chapin.
And I'm Dorothy Dillingham Blue. I'm your new co-host. Get ready, America.
She's so excited I didn't even get a chance to introduce her. Gosh. That is new co-host Dorothy Dillingham Blue.
Thank you.
Dorothy was one of our 5 finalists, and we went through a voting process this past week, and Dorothy is the new co-host now.
I have emerged.
Look at that. Thank you so much, Dorothy. I am so glad that this process is over, to be honest with you. It's been a lot of fun hosting with everybody, but it's been a long process. So
I'm sure. You know, when I went to, I turned in 2012 because I was on the East Coast at the time, and I was like, oh, I don't think I got it. So, you know, even though it's 3 hours ahead, and I went to sleep that night thinking, okay, it's over. You know, I guess I didn't get it because we have a very feverish Facebook battle there, and hats off to Peter Miller. He is an amazing actor. You know, please go see whatever he is up to. And I woke up the next morning, started 2013 with a new gig, and that's kind of what you hope for as an artist, as a person. You want breakthrough, and that's what this year is about, I think, for everything.
So too.
Yeah.
I think 2013 is going to be La La Land's year.
That's right.
And you're going to be a big part of that. So I'm so excited to have you back. And you've guest co-hosted a couple times, and you actually also did a live broadcast with us at Theater Palisades.
I did.
Yeah.
I love live stuff because you never know what's going to happen. That's why I love theater. And so I'm glad that there's another method for us to bring the wackiness that can happen when you get a bunch of theater folks together.
Yeah.
That you can see nationwide.
Good stuff. Guys, call in and congratulate and say hi to our new co-host, Dorothy Dillingham Blue, at 323-247-7443, 323-247-7443. And we're going to be talking in the next segment to the amazing Naomi Grossman actress. So make sure you give us a call to speak to her as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
She's a fellow Wildcat. We both went to Northwestern together, and man, we know each other from back in the day, and you know, scratching, doing whatever we could to get our work seen and to pay the bills. And so we're going to talk about that, about, you know, really working towards your dreams and keeping the faith, and that's what it's about for all of us, I think.
I have a feeling Naomi's worked very hard to get to where she's at. Yes. So I can't wait to hear about it. But let's talk about Theater Palisades real quick. What do you have going on over there right now?
Well, as some of you may know, I'm the chair for Theater Palisades Youth, and so we run 2 workshops a year, one in the winter and one in the summer. And right now we're about to start the process of our winter workshop, and I work with very talented, enthusiastic kids, usually about the age of 8 or 3rd grade until their freshman year in high school. And they come in, they audition, but I have a place for everybody. There's not, you know, sorry, no thanks. You know, if you want to be involved with the show, you're in the show. I will find a place for you. And we are about to start rehearsals for High School Musical Junior. Yes, it's true. Or as I like to call, Grease without teenage pregnancy. And I gotta say, you know, I was a little hesitant to do the show, but it's adapted by a guy named oh my gosh, I'm going to blank his name. But anyway, the book has been adapted for the stage very well, and it's a very sharp show, and I really think it translates well from the crazy phenomenon that was the Disney film onto the stage. So I'm really excited. We have a very talented cast. They will be on in a few weeks to do a little promo themselves, because they are not shy, because as I like to call them, they call me Dottie Blue there. And so my husband has referred to a bunch of them as the Dottie Blue players, because they are willing to just, I'm like, challenge, go for it. And they're like, challenge accepted. So we're going to have a few of them on here to show you what that's all about. And we start rehearsals next week, and we open March 1st for 2 weekends, and we run through the 10th of March.
Very nice.
Yes.
Go to theaterpalisades.com for information on that, and go to the TP Youth page.
Yes.
And next week, also, we have with us Diane Grant and Susan Stengel from Has Anybody Here Seen Roy, which is opening at Theater Palisades in a couple weeks here.
That's right. Diane, she's an amazing, amazing writer and actress in her own right. And she and I collaborated on a new adaptation of Wind in the Willows, the story Wind in the Willows, into a musical, along with our composer, Michael Riley. And we just actually got licensing from youthplays.org. So you can license that play, and our how we collaborated on it, and it's got wonderful music, and I really encourage you to take a look. It's a fun story, and working with a writer as closely as I did, it was so inspiring, and I think that's collaboration is the name of the game. Don't try to be your own temple. You got to bring in the people, you got to work with others, and that can be really rewarding.
So we're going to have Diane Grant and Susan Stengel, and you guys can talk about collaboration. And
yeah,
all
absolutely. And Susan and I go back because we were standardized, or no, she worked at the standardized patient program for UCLA. So I used to be like a fake patient. And so seriously. And she's a doctor, and she would train me to be like these crazy characters. So yes, there are all kinds of crazy actor
I got to
jobs.
hear more about that.
I know.
Girls
got to pay the bills. Like, whatever. Okay.
And then we're also having a pretty cool contest with our buddy Benny from the Pantages Theater.
Love Benny Aguayo.
Good stuff. We are going to be giving away 2 tickets to opening night of Peter Pan.
Yes. Peter Pan with Kathy Rigby.
Yeah.
Who apparently is just, she is proving day by day that age is just a number, and I'm really excited to hear Benny talk about that rehearsal process. I'm sure he's been able to peek in, and it's a really classic show.
But we want to make it interesting, I don't want to just give the tickets away. So, we're thinking maybe a little trivia question, something that we'll either talk about next week or put up on our Facebook.
Yeah.
And answer the trivia question. Call in. It's got to be somebody's calling in.
Hello.
Yeah, call in. Answer the trivia question. Get 2 free tickets to opening night of Peter Pan. That's not right. A bad deal.
Yeah, you got our digits. I mean, 323-247-7443. So,
That's right.
Answer that question. You'll know it.
Or you could go to Facebook at facebook.com/LaLaLandTalk and twitter.com/LaLaLandTalk.
Yes.
So I'll just throw that in there while I'm talking about it.
Know.
And you know what? We're syndicated now.
That's
pretty
right.
Cool.
Happy New Year, syndication.
Yes, you guys are going to be able to hear us on Sundays beginning this month. Don't have an exact date, but sometime this month, beginning, you'll be able to hear us on Sundays at the Actors Radio Network.
Nice.
So we're on there with about 10 or 11 other actor type shows, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yes. Go to Actors Reporter, or excuse me, go to actorsentertainment.com for information on them. By the way. And is that everything? That's pretty much everything.
I guess.
I'm hosting a new show called Thespian Thoughts next month.
Nice.
That's going to be a lot of fun. So, keep in touch with us to find out about that.
So is it got people sitting around going, what's my motivation? Or
No, it's theater reviews.
Oh, theater reviews, yeah. Really?
I'm going out to theaters and seeing shows and then talking about them on air for
nice. So you're going to have like a lot of people like you, or a lot of people go, oh, he was like so wrong.
Exactly. And I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to.
I would hope so.
I mean, I don't want to just say nice things just because I saw the show. I want to be honest. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's a show that's been around for about 3 years now with a couple other hosts, and I was lucky enough to get the gig, so I'm excited.
Very cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
Very nice. Yeah,
Is
honesty must be. Yeah, you can't find it a whole lot here. People are like, oh my gosh, your dress that you wore in scene 2 was so nice. Like that way, like it was just horrible. It was just awful.
And girls are worse than guys with that stuff. I mean,
oh good Lord.
Do you want to tell the audience anything about you personally for them to get to know you at all?
Yeah.
Before we get going with Naomi Grossman?
Of course. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, which is a shockingly artsy town. And I started. So if you hear a Southern accent come out, that's why. It's because I'm so comfortable with you that I'm just letting it all out.
I hear it in certain words sometimes. It's funny.
Yes. Or if I've just gotten off the plane,
Yeah.
Then or off the phone. And so I started dancing because when you're from South Carolina, at 3 or 4, you're put in a tap class. So I was put in a tap class, and I was a very, very shy child. But I loved to tap dance, and I loved to sing and dance. And that was the way that my teachers taught me how to perform, was through singing and dancing at Calvert Brody School of Dance with Miss Naomi. Actually, was the name of my tap teacher, Naomi Calvert. And when I was about 8, she came to me, and this was when the rights for Annie had just been released to community theaters. And she said, I think you should audition for this show. And I had never thought about doing a play ever in my life. But she was one of those teachers that when she said, you ought to do this, then who was I to doubt her?
Yeah.
So I went to my parents and I said, I want to do this. And they said, you're going to have to talk out loud in front of a lot of people. I said, I know. But they let me do it. And I got a part. I got one of the orphans, Tessie, the one that cries and sings Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile. And that was my first rehearsal, was my 9th birthday. And I have been hooked ever since. And just it brought me to be able to express myself, and I continue doing theater all in Columbia. There's a lot of community theater there. There's also a professional company called Trustis Theater. I was one of their first apprentices, and I went to the South Carolina Governor's School for the Arts, which is now a year-round program, and I eventually went to Northwestern University, which has a wonderful theater program, which I enjoyed, and I was acting and doing tech theater, which I'd never done before, and was like just so frightening, but I loved it. And I directed my first show there, Pump Boys and Dinettes, which is actually having a revival on Broadway in a few months. So we'll talk about that as it's coming forward. Nice. And producing, I loved producing as well. And did theater in Chicago. I worked with a group called Guerrilla Theater doing improv, which also was so frightening, but I loved it. I had so much fun doing it. And then I got really, really cold because it was Chicago. And so I moved. And came out here. And I've just been acting, and I did an improv group with Naomi called what is it called? Una. Yeah, Una Spontaneous Theater. That was a lot of fun. I've done commercials out here, stand up. I do voiceover. But as an actor, I was getting that weird chip on my shoulder, and so I started working with youth, with kids the age of when I started acting. And that to me has been what reminded me of why I started doing this in the first place. And that is so rewarding, and I love it. And it's inspired me full circle to start performing more. So that's what I love, is having the whole circle of life of an artist, because you're never done. That's what I tell them. Like, you're never done. You got to keep learning and all that. So
that's giving our audience a lot of information.
It is a lot of information. Yeah. I'm a talker. It's just so you know. I mean, thank goodness.
I'm glad you are, because I'm not quite so much. So that'll be a good balance. So you're experienced. You've been doing it all your life.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you're an awesome person to have on the show.
There we go.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
And I love talking to people about what they're experiencing, and I love going to theater and seeing what the world is up to. And it doesn't matter. It could be a giant show at the Pantages. I mean, I certainly loved going to Book of Mormon, but it could also be something in sort of a garage, that's almost some of the Elephant Theater or the Open Fist. Their stuff is a little more down and dirty, and that's okay too. I think there's a place for that. I did a semester in London, and some of the best stuff I saw was in the basement of a bookstore in Camden. I mean, it's not about the space. It's about the energy that you bring to it. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like the energy that you're bringing to the show so far. It's good stuff. I guess we'll take a break and be back with Naomi Grossman. For any information on Naomi, you can go to naomigrossman.net. And this is Naomi Grossman, who is currently working on American Horror Story Asylum.
Yes.
Pretty good stuff.
All right.
So make sure you give a call at 323-247-7443, 323-247-7443. You can also tweet us a question at La La Land Talk. Thank you so much to our audience for 2012. It was an awesome year. Looking forward to 2013. I'm so honored that they allow us to come into their homes and showcase these
rock.
amazing guests. Are you kidding me?
Yes, I'm so excited to be a part of this. Oh,
It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be back on La La Land on LA Talk Live. Welcome back to La La Land on LA Talk Live. I'm Brett Chapin. That's Dorothy Dillingham Blue.
Hi there.
Do you want to introduce yourself when we come back from commercials? We should work this out now.
That's all right. Yeah, we'll figure out our rhythm, and
All right,
I think that'll work.
We'll work it out. We're talking today with the amazing actress Naomi Grossman. Hi, Naomi.
Hello.
For any questions for Naomi, make sure you give us a call at 323-247-7443, 323-247-7443.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Naomi, you are incredibly experienced. You've been doing it for quite a while, and we all know that you play the character Pepper on American Horror Story Asylum. But before we even get into all that, how did you get started with acting? I mean,
Well, it's interesting. I was, listening to Dorothy talk about her story. Mine is similar. I was 7, 8 at a public library watching some children's theater troupe and said, that's what I want to do. And so literally since I was, that age, I've been singing and dancing. And this was in Denver, Colorado, where, pretty much Father Dowling, Perry Mason, that was pretty much as much as you
I saw
could
that's
do.
your first IMDb credit.
Yeah, I know. We got to get that off of there. It just makes me look old. But, I've been at it for a while, that's for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then you continued at Northwestern as well.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We were theater majors together.
That's right.
Yep, got our hands dirty doing,
Oh, yeah.
tech theater and writing and producing and, all of it.
Because you founded one of the theater companies there, didn't you?
That's right, Vertigo.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember because I did the Jewish theater ensemble. I was the token non-Jew, but I don't even know to this day what really it was about. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I remember you worked a lot with Vertigo, and
Which is now a thing.
it's a huge thing.
Yeah, I guess there's
know.
this, Northwestern is a really unique sort of theater community in that it
Yeah.
has all these, not only is the sponsored theater awesome, but there's also all these sort of subgroups, like production companies that students form to produce their own stuff. And Vertigo just happened to be sort of like this underground late night original work sort of group. And yes, I was a founding member.
Very nice.
Yes.
Nice.
And you came out here pretty soon after you finished.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't take that cold more than the 4
man.
years.
I know.
I barely
You're
made it through.
smart.
What a great school, though. I remember in high school, the big thing was for actors in the acting class, you want to get into Northwestern. That
Yeah,
was-
and it's unique in that it's not an audition program. You have to academically get in,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you can academically get in, then you can be a theater major. So they're
They don't have an audition at all?
They don't for acting. They do for their musical theater certificate program. But their idea is that if you are willing to study and work, then you can learn the art of acting. And I think. Or discover that you want to be something other than an actress. And
Hopefully.
hopefully,
If
yes.
they're successful.
If they're, yes. And I think that's important for people to know is that, you don't have to essentially go to trade school to be an actor. There are other avenues. And I think that Northwestern is an avenue.
Well,
great
and
school.
now in retrospect, I realize how important that liberal arts education is. I mean, like, let's face it. I mean, most of my success has been totally self-generated. And without having sort of a foundation of like things that inspire me or interest me, to get to writing and producing and whatnot on my own. I mean, if all I knew how to do was just, act, like how much opportunity do I actually have for that? Not a lot,
Exactly. Because whenever I'm talking to Naomi, she's always working on something. There's no such thing as her resting on her laurels. Her place is neat as a pin. It's always like, I always thought, I've been writing for like hours. I'm just taking a little break and then I'm back, And she works on these amazing one-person shows, which at first I was like, oh, Lord, one-person shows. Because I've seen some doozies. But going to hers is like seeing a cast of thousands.
Aw.
And that's what's really fun about going to see one of her shows. So tell us a little about that development process.
Well, that's true. I'm a total freak I'm very disciplined, and when I take a break, it's usually like a bathroom break that takes 2 minutes, and then I'm back. And I usually
It's not surprising you're as successful as you are with that kind of discipline. I'm sorry, go on.
Thank you. No, sorry.
Well, you started writing.
Oh,
you
solo
did
shows.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I just got to a point where I was not getting cast, and so I thought I'll cast myself. I realized, I think when I first moved out here, it seemed like it was so much about the business, sending out your pictures and following up with a phone call and blah 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 blah, all this stuff that we never did at Northwestern.
That's true. Yeah.
They didn't teach us, sending out pictures. So
never teach the business side.
No, we didn't get a degree in that. But I guess I just sort of, after years and years of just business and no actual art, it got me down. Like, I thought, this is not what I want to be when I grow up. A professional mailing, professional mailer.
Yeah.
So that's when I stopped, and I thought, okay, well, what do you want to be? Then be that, and that was, an actor. And in order for me to do that, unfortunately, I also apparently had to be a writer and producer as well, because, like I said, I just wasn't getting cast on my own. So that's when the solo show came about like that. I mostly was writing short sort of sketch comedy, and I happened upon a director who, it was really by coincidence. Although now I wonder if I even believe in that. I actually went and saw theater. I was actually one of those token people in LA that goes to see plays.
We like those people.
Yeah. I remember seeing a flyer for this play, and it was written by Joan Ackerman, who wrote Off the Map and some of my other favorite plays, and thinking, I want to go see that. And so sure enough, I went. It was a fabulous production at the Lex Theater in Hollywood. And I remember thinking, well, in between, actually, in the intermission, I was some guy just sort of chatting me up and said, so who are you here to see? Because no one actually goes to see theater here. We're all like taking one for the team, support a friend. So I said, oh, no one. I really like this playwright. And at the time, the director was there, my director, Richard Imbardo, kind of did a double take. Who? What? You just see theater? Tell me, who are you? Where did you come from? Are you real? So sure enough, then I had the rest of the performance to sort of look, see over his silhouette. He happened to be sitting in front of me, and thought, that's my director. That's who I want to work with. Someone like that. So sure enough, I asked him afterwards. I thought, what do I have to lose? Would you entertain the idea of working with me on this one woman show? And I did, and he did, and it just was very lucky. It turns out it was his last performance of the last show that he was doing at that company ever, actually. So I just got really lucky. And the date on the flyer that I picked up to go see, that was actually the wrong date. So it was like just completely, the stars aligned to get me there to meet him. So sure enough, he's the one who turned me on. I showed him the solo show that I'd written. That was really not a solo show at all. It was a sketch comedy show in which I had all the good roles. I think, Dorothy, you might have even been cast in that. Sorry.
Okay. It's all right. It's all
in
good.
any case, he's the one who said, I will work with you, but not on this. So I really had to kind of take a real leap of faith and decide, okay, I've got somebody awesome who wants to work with me. It also means totally abandoning everything that I had been working on and want to work on, which was, at the time, seemed stressful, but now I realize, like, what a piece of junk that was, and how Thank God I abandoned that,
Can people find pieces of the show on NaomiGrossman.net?
That particular show, absolutely not. That will never be seen ever by anyone.
Okay.
That is, I'm referring to like the little sketchy stuff. No, but then once Richard and I started to work together, he's the one who said, so tell me about yourself. And I was like, oh man, I told you about myself. Look at my sketches. Yeah. And he said, no, let's hear about you. And so that's when we kind of got to talking, and I told him, I actually grew up in Argentina. He thought, well, that's interesting. I would never know that about you. So sure enough, that's what I wrote. I wrote my first solo show was called Girl in Argentine Landscape, and sort of a coming of age story. Again, it was just one of those things where while I was writing, I was like, I don't even know who I am right now, because, this wasn't a genre or medium that I was really comfortable in. I was really good at, or so I thought, 2-minute parody, dirty sketch comedy. And this was kind of personal and enlightened and intellectual and sometimes funny, sometimes sad. Like it was theater.
Yeah, as someone who's known you for as long as I have, when I went and saw it, and the times I'm like bursting into tears watching parts of it, and I was like, wow, this is a side of Naomi that I didn't know before, and I'm so glad that she felt this passion to expose this part of herself.
Right.
And that's brave. That's really brave.
Well, now having done that, I realize like it's really kind of hard to go back. Like obviously I'm willing to share with Jessica Lange and the gang, but when you have a role like that where it's just you, your story on stage for an hour, it's it's hard to do Oklahoma at the
I'm sure.
after that.
Was Carnival Knowledge after that?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So Girl in Argentine Landscape was almost maybe 10 years ago, actually. But it had a nice little run. It was here in LA.
You extended how many times?
I don't even know.
It was crazy.
But it had a nice run, and it was nominated for an LA Weekly Theater Award.
All right.
So it's very exciting. Didn't win, but Sanderson Lowe, who's one of my favorite radio personalities on KCRW at the time, who got fired for using the F-bomb.
Join us over here, Mr. Lowe. We have a good time over here.
Yeah. You won't get fired here.
No, not here. No.
She does solo performance as well, and she introduced my category, the solo show category, which was very exciting too. The effing amazing Naomi Grossman. I mean, that was like winning to me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But it was great. We got Pick of the Week in the LA Weekly, and all kinds of really nice things. From there, I actually took it to Chicago. I think the only time I've been back. Just too cold.
It's very cold. It's chilly.
And even actually a very lovely, generous friend of ours from Northwestern, Sharif Atkins, who you may know from White Collar or ER. He was generous enough after one of my performances, said, you got to get some people in here, Hollywood. I'm like, dude, easy for you to say. And he's like, all right, you need to take it to them. The man wrote a check right then and there to have me, to finance me shooting it on DVD.
Oh, that's right. Our friend Ken did that, didn't Ken?
Ken directed, right. And Sharif, put up the money, and sure enough, we filled another theater and had strapped on a mic and shot it. And that is what you can see on NaomiGrossman.net.
Okay.
Under Girl in Argentine Landscape. Yeah, that's that. You can see a clip from that there.
Excellent.
After that, like I said, it was kind of hard to do anything else for a while. Like I was kind of spoiled on stage. So, but I got into the Groundlings. I was there for many years, as one is.
Not an easy group to get into. Congratulations.
No, thank you. It's quite a trip. Mm-hmm. But I was there for probably maybe 6 years. I was in the Sunday company there, and that was an amazing, just sort of cool, just think tank, kind of comedy think tank. And then after that is when I thought, okay, now what? I was okay at that solo performance thing. And so that's what I went back to, and that's when I started to get that's when I wrote Carnival Knowledge.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And that's I guess the first one, Girl in Argentine Landscape, is your story. What's Carnival Knowledge?
Oh, it's also my story.
It's also your story.
Yeah. So if Girl in Argentine Landscape is the coming of age story, Carnival Knowledge is the come of age story.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Different spelling.
Literally.
Naomi Grossman Part 2.
Yeah. It's a little more adult. It's kind of Sex in the City, different coast.
It's a carnival. Like literally, she's dressed like a ringmaster.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it opens.
Cool.
Yes. Oh, please tell about the opening. Oh my God, the
Lights
best
up.
opening ever.
Lights up. You see me. I'm playing a vigorous game of whack-a-mole. You know the
Yes.
carnival game. Although it's not whack-a-mole, it's whack-a-weenie.
Yes.
There's dildos popping up out. Which is
That
sort
happens all the time, right?
which is of course a metaphor for the rest of the show.
Okay.
Basically, it's sort of a documentary of my love life, which has been very colorful. And so yeah, I've got there's a thrill ride, and there's some fun mirrors, and I think every guy, every boyfriend, every date, if you will, sort of has a different carnival ride that sort of is a representation of him.
Yeah, and the way she, the way she kind of models this out is so clever, and yet, but clever is just kind of a talking down word. I feel it's a great model as to how to section out your story, because some people just get all muddled, or they want to have a quick thing about it, but hers was just really smart, so I enjoyed it.
One of the downfalls with solo shows is that people just feel like they need to just throw up their whole story.
Yeah.
Like, I was born on the coldest day. Who cares? What are you trying to say with this story?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, this story was about, where is he? It was about, I'm single, and
apparently you've been hitting him with the mallet. That's where it is.
He's hiding is what he's doing.
I guess so. Yeah, that's the thing with solo shows is it's really, I mean, I've hosted this on my own a couple of times, and it's crazy. I mean, you can't really it's hard to be up there by yourself. You really have the spotlight shining on you, and it's a big responsibility.
Especially without talking about, being an actor or having cancer or being abused or any of the other kind of pitfalls of. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, but
wait, do you talk about that?
No, I'm just saying, like, if I see another solo show where you talk about, your uncle and
right.
Oh my goodness.
I think that's why solo shows get a bad reputation.
Yeah.
It's because there's a lot of that going on. Yeah.
Or and it's not that they just, I think, exposing that part of yourself is brave. It's what comes next. I think that's what a lot of shows are missing is what comes next, or what questions are you going into the universe for? Or are you just going to and this happened and it was terrible. Lights up. All right, everybody, let's go get a Fanta in the lobby. I mean, the story has to take the audience on that journey.
I was going to say the same words.
And guide them out the door with questions and appreciation of the journey and rooting for you. And that's what I think can be missed from a lot of shows.
What's next? Yeah.
What's next?
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. You want to be encouraged to have and inspired. You can't watching people who have had one person shows, and you feel inspired to survive your own thing that you're going through, whether it could be anything from acne to infertility, like who cares? But if you're like, okay, well, this person used this kind of tactic and that worked, then maybe that'll work for me too. So I think that's something that
at the same time, it really is like the most empowering genre.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
sure.
I've got a third one in me for sure.
Awesome.
Yes.
Is it being written right now?
In my mind.
All right.
The actual sitting down and writing it, not so much, because Dorothy knows when I am so disciplined that once I do that, it means sort of shutting off like all other communication. And
it's true. Like she disappears for like 2 or 3 months
at least.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Like there'll be like conversation. Has anybody heard from Naomi? Is she okay? I'm like, she must be writing something.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you got to do that. You know, just
Yep.
got to shut everything out.
It's
Great. And then moving along in the life of Naomi Grossman, I assume after these solo shows, you started auditioning, kept auditioning.
Yes and no. I mean, I'm still doing those shows actually. Like Carnival Knowledge, I mean, had a real life. Like that show also was extended multiple times here in LA. Then actually took it to Edinburgh and did it there in Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland for those of you who
Which
don't know
was
Edinburgh.
oh my goodness. That I mean, which is sort of the, climbing of the Kilimanjaro. It's sort of like the actor must do in his or her life.
Go to the fringe.
Yes.
It's a big deal there.
Huge deal. I mean, it was a year. What am I saying? It felt like a year. It was a month long, every single night, 11 p.m., climbing uphill both ways in the rain to do my show. And it was just so fulfilling, so exciting. I because of the carnival knowledge, I would during the afternoons I would strap on my beaded thong and matching pasties, which you don't see a lot in Scotland, by the way. Okay,
It's a little cold there for that.
It's freezing.
Yeah.
But hey, I need audience, so I would go out there on the Royal Mile, which is sort of the main drag there, and we hand out postcards, and nobody really thought anything of it. Like, it's just sort of this crazy month where that's what people do. I think they thought I was crazy because it was just so cold.
Right.
But and sure enough, that got folks in. Although I was never taught. I think my time was actually 11:10 p.m. But I think the Brits say like 10 of or 10 past or 10. They say something else, and I literally was like, they didn't understand when I said 11:10. Like, you do have to find out like how they say your show time.
I did not even think about that.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's for when we take this show to England. Just so you know.
Right.
Yeah. Find
We'll have
out
to
how
learn.
to tell people.
We'll have to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was just that I must say really reignited me in terms of like, this is what I want to be doing. Not like that there was ever any question. I mean, I would say, all that sort of, chip on my shoulder, like Dorothy said she had, that I was starting to have, having just going to the post office every day, sending out headshots, was of course eliminated when I started writing. But then having a month of just performances like every single night, sometimes packed, sometimes not. And then of course during the day, handing out postcards butt naked, to literally going to see theater butt naked. I literally went and saw this one show called Naked Brunch.
Oh, you told me about
this.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's like this brunch, and there's a show, and the performers are naked, and the audience is naked, and the waiters and the staff is naked. Everyone is naked. I remember walking in late and going, oh my God. And I was literally in the doorway wearing clothes, as one does when they're in
going
public.
to theater.
And sure enough, I was like, oh my God. And in the doorway, quick, ripped off my clothes, because it was either that or leave, So I
everyone else is naked. You might as well be too.
Yeah. Oh, it was a blast. Awesome. Laid down my shirt on the seat before I sat, but it was great. It was sponsored by a British ginger beer called Krabby's. Really unfortunate.
Glad you laid your shirt down.
Right?
Seriously.
Anyway, but I mean, that's what I'm talking about. It was one of those like months that just really like opened my eyes. Like, oh my God, you can do this on stage. Like, you can do anything on stage. And so from there, I would say, I came back here, and I actually took the show to New York as well. Which is also, you kind of have to do these things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was one of those like, I gotta go to New York.
And the thong was in Times Square, right?
Oh yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
That's true. Again, people.
Sounds like you had a great time over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. And then you came back here. Obviously,
I've been back, and I would say, and I've always been kind of auditioning. But in fact, I'll be honest, like this role, Pepper, kind of was just one of, it's just another audition. I didn't audition that much, and I still don't yet,
Mhm.
but only because all this is very new to me. But I just, because I was kind of developmental, there's only so many types of roles that are out there for us. Like, let's face it, like, at that level, you're kind of getting, nurse number 3 to the left, or the waitress who gonna take your order. Like, that's kind of the kinds of roles I was getting, and obviously not what I really wanted to be doing.
Exactly.
I mean, it was, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I always wondered, like, how are we gonna bridge this gap?
Right.
Because I'm doing the work that I want to be doing,
Yeah.
and yet it's not getting the kind of attention, and it's not, or at least at the time, wasn't bridging that gap
Right.
to the kind of work that I could be doing,
Mhm.
on a bigger scale. And so Pepper was lucky, and yet, let's face it, I'm gonna toot my horn a little.
Yeah, if you hadn't done that other stuff, then I don't think the role of Pepper would have been yours.
I
honestly.
agree.
And for people that are just tuning in, this is Pepper on American Horror Story Asylum. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, I mean, it's true. I've been kind of just doing my thing for a long time. I've been doing sketch comedy and the solo performance, whatnot. I've got a YouTube channel that's just like, I've got tons of stuff. Like,
Got a lot
I'm
of
out
stuff
there for
yeah.
sure. You can,
Yeah.
you can see what I can do as far as, big characters goes,
Mhm.
because that's sort of my thing. And so, this audition, who knows what the casting process really entailed, but I imagine they probably Googled me and saw, okay, she can do a big character, and certainly there's no bigger character than Pepper.
No. Oh my gosh.
She has such a fan following. The fans
insane.
love Pepper. There are so many things on the what do you call them? Fan message boards,
Mhm.
and there's
Memes.
Facebook profiles for Pepper that people have made, and
Oh yeah, I
it's
get
crazy.
Facebook invites and friend requests all the time. People with my picture
Yeah.
as their profile pic.
That's
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
that's gotta be crazy for you, because
little
you
weird.
probably haven't experienced that before to that level.
Yeah.
So you play such a sweet character. She's so lovable, but yet she has a very, very dark past.
Right.
Well,
Which we only just now found out about. I don't know if you watched Wednesday.
I watched Wednesday.
You did?
Yeah.
So she was framed.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that part.
Rewind.
oh yes.
Okay.
Rewatch.
Okay.
Happened
Yes.
fast.
I saw the name game
Yes.
on Wednesday.
Indeed.
That was fun.
Well, earlier, first up on the episode, we hear Pepper's story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that there is a dark past, but she was really a victim.
Yeah, because when we first met
Okay.
Pepper, the lead, one of the characters, Lana, is warned not to trust Pepper because she had drowned her sister's baby and cut its ears off, and you look at Pepper and she's visually scary, but physically you're wondering, how could this happen? But at that point, when you're a viewer, I think you have to you trust the words that you hear, which I think is a theme within American Horror Story. Is, can you really trust what people are telling you?
Mm-hmm.
And that in an asylum, there's all sort of things that people are telling you.
Oh, yeah.
What do you believe? And what we find out is that Pepper was framed by her brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
That it's the brother-in-law that really did the murder and did the mutilation, and that it's because of how she looks that it was never questioned that it was her.
Yeah, it was easy
She
to
was
set
framed.
her up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's an important thing. A theme within the show that's sort of risen is people want to know the truth about what's going on, and can you trust what everybody's telling you? So
Well, my question's out the window. I was going to ask what it's like to play a character with a dark past, but apparently Pepper doesn't have a dark past.
Well, she's been
You
in
know?
an asylum all this time.
Yeah.
Right. That's true. And there's also a lot of talk on the fan message boards about doing a Pepper spinoff, giving Pepper her own show.
Wow.
If that was to happen, what direction would you like to see the character go?
Well, I would
mean-
love to see that, of course, but it's Pepper's not mine to do
Right.
that with. You got to get Ryan Murphy and the powers that be to want to do that.
Well, what if Ryan Murphy wanted to do it?
Oh,
Oh, and even beyond, I think what he's been doing is this whole idea of having a company of players when it comes to American Horror Story. Using same actors in a different role for the seasons. I think that's happened with Jessica Lange's character. That's happened with Evan Peters' character. And so I think that's a great possibility for someone like Naomi, who, has such this iconic character. Now we know she can do something that whack out, and it is behind this whole mask of hair and makeup that takes 2.5, 3 hours to do. What if we strip all that away? What if that's what we see in the next season of American Horror Story? Is the stripped away of what we saw as Pepper before? That to me that's the reveal.
No matter what they do, it will be a departure. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, which just makes the makeup look that much more amazing and the casting that much more ingenious, and everybody looks good.
Yeah.
So
everybody looks so bad they look good. You know what? That's
Pepper, yeah, she's such a sweetheart, and yet it's visually she's not very attractive. Yeah.
It's jarring. Yeah. And you've actually seen someone who is a microcephalic in person, and I remember you talking about how it was interesting to be the one looking as opposed to being the one looked at.
Right.
Yeah,
that was amazing. She sat in front of me at the movie theater, which was fortuitous because I could see the screen. Sorry. But no, I mean, I really I was in that situation where I was like, I want to stare, don't stare. Why is this happening to me? Is this a message? Is this a sign? Is this a gift? What,
That's a gift.
It is a gift.
That is a gift right there.
But, it wanted to, this was my first time, right there. How does she move? How does she sound? What is she, this was my chance to study up. Of course, by then I'd already shot everything. So it's more like just torture. How bad did I screw this up? But
it's doubtful there was any screwing up going on, I promise.
Yeah. I was watching. You said it was Freaks, and they used a real microcephalic person in that, I believe.
I think there's 3 of them actually.
Total. Yeah, and Pepper acts just like them.
Well, good. That was my goal.
Yeah.
I watched Schlitzie. That's the one you're referring to. Yeah. Just on a loop all summer long. That's all I did.
Oh, well, you look a lot like Schlitzie.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Pepper has a very creepy line too at the beginning. Your very first line with the flower, play with me.
Yeah.
Play with me.
Yeah. That one has been talked about a lot on the message boards.
It
Audience
was
loves that.
I would say the early Pepper was very easy for me because, I was prepped. With Schlitzie, I kind of knew exactly what they wanted. Besides, big characters like that are kind of my thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we saw this Evolve Pepper, where I don't get full scripts, so I just know whatever is on my page. And so when the page was now a completely coherent Pepper, reveals grace, whatever, that's all I had. So sure enough, when I showed up to set that day, I've got 3 hours in makeup to kind of figure out what's going on if I don't know already. And sure enough, they texted Ryan Murphy, so no gestures, no crouching, no voice, and so that's kind of how I got my direction, which was I would say, which is what's interesting is, again, the big character, which would probably be daunting for maybe most actors, wasn't. Whereas the very still, subtle, straight acting that I had to do now as the new Pepper, Evolve Pepper, was probably much more of a challenge.
It's interesting.
Especially with that makeup, it kind of just makes you want to act like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you put on a wig and you're just all of a sudden, hairspray.
Yeah.
That's what this makeup did. And so to then be still straight, sort of, CSI Miami with the Pepper makeup, that was a challenge.
It's a mask that you're wearing.
Essentially, practically.
On the body mask. And so we were talking about this, we were watching it together on Wednesday, and I said, you have to, especially with this new evolvement of the character, is act beyond the mask. You can't, depend on that physicality anymore. You have to go internal. And when she's such an external looking character, I mean, that's a big thing to juggle. That's why they can't just bring Joe Schmo in to play these roles. They have to have people that are willing to do the research, like you did, on what the character is to begin with, and also the confidence to go beyond that, to say, yes, I can do Shakespeare as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was it? I think it was the guy from one of the Star Trek Enterprise. Who was the
Zachary Quinto.
Yeah, well, you're right. He was on it as well, but
Uh-huh.
the television show, the second one. Who was
The
it?
Next Generation.
Yes.
Brent Spiner.
No. Anyway.
LeVar Burton. I don't know.
No, the captain.
Oh, Patrick something.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, he related
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. Thank you.
Yes.
He said that acting in that show was like combining Shakespeare with the technical instructions to plugging in your cable system or something like that. You have to marry the two. And that I think that's a lot of things that actors juggle a lot, is that they have to marry that physical with the emotional with the psychological,
Right.
and that works a lot.
Do you think Pepper's been your biggest challenge as far as a role goes?
Different challenges. I would say no, because, gosh, doing your own show that you wrote and you produced and you hauled a duffel bag full of dildos across the pond. That's hard work. I mean, that was a marathon. By like your 15th day, you're like, oh my God, I can't do this in another minute. And then, of course, by the 30th day, you're like, I can't stop.
Yeah.
So no, this is actually not even close to being not even a challenge.
That's amazing.
I've got a trailer and I've got a fucking there's a whole like buffet of craft services awaiting me. So
your name's on a chair.
Yeah, my name's on a chair. So no, this is not a challenge. However, there are new challenges, like having one eyeball and climbing up a steep staircase, walking and talking with Jessica Lange, with lights and cameras, and everything is very expensive. So it's challenges I've never had before, but they're nice challenges to have.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
Yeah,
because most actors look at that role. I think myself as an actor, I look at it and say, how can she do it? It must be so difficult, but it sounds like it comes kind of second nature to you.
Well, I mean,
that's nice.
It's just what I want to be doing. It's when people are like, I can't believe you shaved your head. It's like, but I mean, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Like, so whatever I got to do to get what I want is what I'm about to do. So it's really, that wasn't hard at all.
It's just hair. Like, I mean, I swear, if I see one more person complain about like trimming or changing the color or just, I'm really like doing smash shots and I kind of want to look, down and dirty. So I'm just not going to wash my hair for a day. I'm like, seriously? I'm a mother. I'm lucky if I get to shave a leg in a week. I mean, like, seriously, don't even go there. Like, and look at, go online, look at what Naomi is going through for her art, and that's what it is. And as actors, we're chameleons. That's what we're built to do.
But it's really not that much of a sacrifice when it's what you want.
Exactly.
It's kind of like when people say like, how long are you going to give this? It's like, you know what? I'm going to give this as long as I'm, there's no limit. Like,
what's your backup
when it
plan?
stops being fun for me, that's when I'm going to call it quits.
Yeah.
But there's never been that time. Like, I've always, like I said, I've definitely had those times where I'm like, oh my God, what's it going to take?
Yeah.
And so you reinvent yourself in whatever way. But I mean, that's what I would say, like, for, I know you have a lot of actors listening.
Yeah.
Is to just do what you love and stop trying to get in people's heads in terms of what they want or what they are looking for, what's going to attract their attention. What will attract their attention is good work.
Yeah.
It will come around. Like, I didn't go out looking for Pepper.
No.
Like, Pepper found me because I had paved the road for her, I think.
I believe that too.
I don't mean to say like me, but at the same time,
you put in a lot of hard work.
It's so funny. I hear actors going, I cannot get an agent. Like, it's like, well, yeah, no, of course not. Like, what have you done to make an agent want you? Like, only now am I actually starting to get, agent meetings because they see dollar signs. And so let's face it, they are what they are. They're business people.
Exactly.
And unless you've got a business, something to sell, so create something to sell, and believe me, I haven't made any money until this year. Like, I've been a member of SAG since 1990. It was 2012 when I finally made, 2013 actually. Just now, I paid my first premium for health insurance. So, I've been putting out these stupid little YouTube videos forever. And, some of them don't get any hits, and it's really disheartening. But,
the ones that do, if you guys have not checked out her videos, I have to make sure I go to the bathroom and then sit down and watch them because they're so freaking funny.
Wait, back up though. You said you're just now getting agent meetings, so that means that you're on a national show and you're not represented, or?
Yes.
Okay. Agents, you're idiots if you're not picking up this woman, honestly. That is fantastic.
No, I mean, it's all relative. I mean, I've had agents in my life, but, there's agents and then there's agents.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I want someone who obviously has like the big picture, who's not just a button pusher, who's, throwing actors at a wall and hoping to see who sticks. Like, I want someone who can kind of see the big vision for me.
There are a lot
Yeah.
of people in this age of like casting and actors access who are simply going and just clicking submit. And you have to have that person that is old school enough to make the follow-up call, but modern enough to know how to work the social media as well. And I think that's where it has to be elevated to. So
Because you always think that people that are in your position professionally all have, handlers and people taking care of them and things like that, but it's not always like that. You're still putting in the
No.
work. You're still auditioning. You're still doing your thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that's great. The one that I love is, why isn't my agent getting me auditions?
Oh,
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing to get auditions? Are you submitting yourself? And it seems like you have always done that, and that's probably why you're as successful as you are.
Well, or that alone. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, I literally stayed here over Christmas to do a mailing and to put out this and that, and I was. It's a lonely road to hoe,
it can be, but there's networking beyond the social media and even beyond agents. Like we've known the same group of people. One of your coaches is Marcus Fulmar, who you've known since you were
childhood,
8 years old.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of guest spots and co-stars and all that kind of stuff, and also happens to be a great coach. And the way, I knew him from Northwestern a little, but the way I really got to know him is Naomi used to host a bunch of us at her house once a week, and we would have class. Do you remember this?
That's true. We had a little thing called
Yeah.
Olympic Workout. 'Cause
Yep.
I lived on Olympic.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so we'd all just meet, and I had a camera, and everyone was responsible once a week to bring sides, and we'd just work it out.
Yeah, and you could just come in
Little
and
think tank.
yeah,
for
and it
actors.
was because you know what, classes are expensive, and so we would come in and work with each other, and we would tape each other and watch it back, and it was as simple as seeing like, oh wow, I didn't realize I was that big or that I was that small on camera, because we are mostly theater trained people, and oh my gosh, I will never wear that shirt on camera
Right.
again. I mean, because you need those communities, and that's the other thing, collaboration, community. You have to keep in touch with that. And Marcus does stuff. We have, remember Vargas, he was in our group as well,
Yeah.
and now he's headlining in Vegas with Brad Garrett's
It's so funny.
comedy show.
I always hear about Duvall and Clooney were friends or whatever, and you hear
Yeah.
about them doing that same sort of thing, and I always hope oh my god, wouldn't that be cool to one day, oh yeah, Mason and Dillingham Blue and Grossman all working it out.
Oh yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
No,
I would
no air
have loved to
conditioning.
have been there during one of these.
Oh
college
yeah,
things.
we went all out. It was some
like
crazy
a lot of
stuff
fun.
we would do there.
Nice.
Yeah.
For any information on you, the best place to go to is naomigrossman.net.
That's correct.
Any other Facebook, Twitter things you want to give out?
Sure. Yeah, they can like me on Facebook, Naomi Grossman, and then my Twitter is Naomi W Grossman.
And your Facebook is Naomi W Grossman as
Is
well,
it?
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see my picture is Pepper.
Yeah.
So
That's the one. Yeah.
of course there's a lot of pictures as Pepper, but I'm
There
Naomi
are.
Grossman.
So many fan pages for her. They love Pepper.
So crazy. In fact, if you go to on my website, I have a section called Pepper, and under Pepper Playtime is where I post any and all fan art.
Oh,
So
cool.
if you've got fan art, well, send it to me, tweet it to me, and I'll put it up there.
Yeah.
Your audience loves Pepper and Naomi Grossman as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Good stuff.
Oh.
Again, for information on Pepper, for information on Naomi, go to naomigrossman.net. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Yay.
Oh, and I joined the Twitterverse.
Oh, yeah. Dorothy's on Twitter.
I am. Dorothy D. Blue is my handle. I think, is that what it
Good
is? Called a
stuff.
handle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. A lot of our regular listeners are have already friended you on there.
Oh, good times.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to give me a tutorial on Twitter, I am so open to that because I'm a little lost. So, yeah, any tutorials, totally.
It's so much easier than Facebook. You're gonna love it.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah. So yeah, and thanks Kevin Dillon and Brett Temple for giving Dorothy shout outs on Twitter
Woohoo! Thank you.
within a couple hours of her creating her
I know.
account. That's pretty cool.
That was last night. I mean,
Yeah.
I had to make a Twitter handle.
I'm gonna have to harass you incessantly on Twitter now. You know this, right?
Oh boy.
All right. Just ask any of our other co-hosts.
Oh, good
It's-
times.
Yeah.
Good times. I'll
Um,
respond. I'm polite like that. My mama told me to. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Return.
Southern girl.
I do. Yep.
Yes.
I'm very polite. To a
Guys,
point.
next week.
Yeah.
Next week on the show.
Woo.
Oh my gosh. We have Lexi Lawson and Ariel Jacobs and Caitlin O'Brien from the Girls Camaraderie Project. And Ariel and Lexi are both original members of the original cast of In the Heights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
we're
you're going to
looking
be
forward to talking
totally
to them.
outnumbered. It's going to be like all girls.
Oh,
again.
I haven't even finished yet. We also have Diane Grant and Susan Stengel from
Jeez
Theater
Louise.
Palisades.
Jeez Louise.
And we also have Jackie Goldberg.
I don't know who that is.
She's the Pink Lady of Hollywood.
The pink lady?
Yes. She, you know what? Google her, guys. 'cause
Okay,
I can't even describe it.
Okay,
She's
great.
a motivational speaker, and she does. She's actually been here to LA Talk Live before, I believe.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I
so
look forward to it.
We're looking forward to talking. We got a jam-packed show next week. We
Woo!
got to be ready.
All right. Whoa. I have to get up, do jazzercise or something.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
For any information on us, you can go to facebook.com/lalalandtalk or twitter.com/lalalandtalk. You can send us an email at lalalandtalk@gmail.com.
All that stuff.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
Tweeting, Facebooking. It's all awesome.
We love that stuff. And I guess we will see you next week
All right. Thanks, everybody. I'm glad to be aboard.
on La La Land with Brett and Dorothy. We'll see you at the top.